Hello, everybody. Welcome to another post-practice report. I am Brian Nemhauser. You can find me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all the places, Ad Hoc Blogger. And today you find me at the VMAC after the Seahawks just finished their first padded practice. Excuse me there. And some interesting stuff to talk about. It was an interesting day because, normally when pads come on, you start to get a little bit more feisty, a little more physical. I didn't see that as much today. Obviously, it was more physical, but I didn't see things get pushed to the edge. In fact, I would say there was some more feistiness in the past couple practices than I saw today. Generally speaking, I would say the defense seemed to win the day. And it was interesting. I was just talking to Coach Mike McDonald. I was asking him about Abe Lucas and Robbie Utes in the run game and whether or not he felt those guys in the run game. And he said, frankly, no. He just didn't think that they ran the ball that well today. If he hadn't have said that, I think you would have heard from a lot of other folks that the Seahawks seemed to run the ball pretty well today. In fact, part of the reason I asked that question is because I saw Abe Lucas seal some edges and clear some pass for Kenneth Walker. I saw Robbie Utes just blow a guy up on a play later in practice. So it's possible that, Coach McDonald sees different things and is in different places. So a lot of times he doesn't watch the 1v1 drills. So, I've asked him a couple things about that and he's like, well, I wasn't there. So I'll see the film maybe. But he also knows what is the intent of any given play on both sides of the ball. He talked about that today. He's kind of got a cheat. So he always knows what's going on both sides. And maybe even plays that for, a layman like me on the side viewing it looks like a productive, successful run. For him, it looks like a failure because maybe it wasn't run the way they were hoping, or maybe they ran it the wrong way, or a million other things. So generally speaking, the defense seemed a little bit ahead of the offense. That's just going to be the expectation, especially most of this preseason, as the defense is returning all starters. The defense is in, the second season of this scheme with these coaches, with each other. The offense has none of that to lean on. New quarterback, new coaching, new scheme, new receivers, new tight ends, like everything's new. So it's just going to take a little time. I was talking with Cooper Kupp after practice about that. And, I was asking hey, so what for you with all that change, what are you looking for to gain confidence that things are going in the right direction? And he said, basically, it's one of those things where right now they're still just installing the offense. So they're like, today we're running these set of plays. And that's what they've got to do. They're not actually changing play calls based on what they see at the line. They're not game planning or anything like that, obviously. So they're not even necessarily running the same play back-to-back days, or they might not even run the same plays over the past few weeks. So, well, the past week and a half, I guess, the past week, I should say. In any event, so he just basically is pointing to the point where they get to run the same play multiple times, and they're thinking less about where they should be lining up and more just about running the route and beating the guy in front of them. So we're still very early days in that regard for the Seahawks and the install of this offense. The defense doesn't have to worry about that stuff. They already know that. So that's one thing to pay attention to. One of the things I love about when the pads go on is you get to see not just the 1v1 pass block drills with the offensive line and the defensive line, but you also get to see blitz pickup with the running backs going against the linebackers. Good way to see which of the linebackers have some juice as blitzers. Good way to see which running backs are good or not good on blitz pickup. And so I'll start there. Kenneth Walker does not have a great reputation as a pass blocker or blitz pickup back. Some people are very harsh on him. I think he's been okay, but there's some folks that are pretty down on him. Didn't have a great practice, to be honest, in that regard. I saw Patty O'Connell beat him a couple times. I think Drake Thomas may have beat him. I think Patty got him again. So it wasn't a great practice for Kenneth Walker from a pass protection blitz pickup perspective. Zach Charbonnet does have a good reputation as a pass protector, and that showed up in that drill. He's wide, he's strong, he's stout, and he's not easy to get around. So he did a nice job throughout there. I thought Josh Ross, the linebacker, had some really nice reps as a blitzer. Showed some juice and some strength and some explosion. I thought Robbie Oots was a guy that I was really curious to watch in this drill. Robbie Oots is still a tight end converting to a fullback. So how does he block kind of in space a little bit, where a guy like you're used to as a tight end engaging basically at the snap with the guy who's rushing? Fullback, a guy's going to get a couple steps before you're really engaging. Even if you're stepping toward him, there's a lot more space to manage. I thought it was kind of an uneven drill for Robbie Oots. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. There were some good reps. There were some less than good reps. So kind of just going to keep an eye out on that. Brady Russell wasn't part of this drill, although he did play a decent amount of fullback during team drills today. But just for what it's worth, he wasn't part of this drill. He's pretty much transitioned to the tight end room, the tight end drills, as what he's spending his time on. George Halani, I thought, had some nice. I mean, this is one of the things that he did last year. He's just kind of a complete running back. He's good as a receiver. He's good as a running back. He can run inside. He can run outside. He's a good pass protector. He's not necessarily the guy that's just going to wow you in any one of those places, but he's just a very solid all-around player. The guy that I thought was most impressive in blitz pickup was Damian Martinez, outside of probably Zach Charbonnet, who's just very good in that regard. I thought Damian Martinez had some really nice reps, and I think the coaching staff was giving him some kudos for the reps that he was taking. So that was good to see. And the offense overall won the drill. So all the linebackers did push-ups after it was over. So, offense gets some kudos on that side. Small note, but Jody Allen and Burt Cold were here, so you had ownership represented, and that's always a big thing for the team to see those folks here and observing what they're doing, writing their checks, and making sure that they're invested in what's going on here. The other thing that happened today, I'll get to 1v1s in a little bit, but it is really, really hard right now to track who's in an offensive line. All the reporters are like, we're all talking to each other. I'm used to taking notes and being able to say, okay, this is the first string line. Here's the second string line. Oh, now there's today they've changed who's playing with the ones, or today who's changed who's playing with the twos, or maybe somebody played right guard yesterday and they're playing, left guard today. It is play by play. Christian Haynes is at guard. Christian Haynes is at center. Jalen Sundell is at guard. Jalen Sundell is at center. Abe Lucas at right tackle. No, it's Josh Jones at right tackle. And Mason Richmond's not right guard. It is so hard to keep track of what's going on play by play. And I'm sure the coaching staff is thrilled that it's hard for the media to keep track, because they'd love us to not know what's going on. And we're certainly not supposed to report depth chart and that kind of thing. So I'm not going to get into that, but I will just say the guys are all over the place right now. And I don't think that's sustainable. I mean, I know it's not sustainable. These guys have got to start kind of settling into the position they're going to play. Everybody's learning a new scheme together. Everybody's got new coaches. Having that compounded with learning multiple positions play by play, let alone day by day, I just don't know that that's a recipe for fixing what's one of the biggest issues, if not the biggest issue that the Seahawks have been plagued with in the past decade, is offensive line play. So we asked Mike McDonald about settling on the line rotation back in spring. We asked at the beginning of camp, and initially he said within the first couple weeks. He changed his answer the other day to, I don't want to put a timeline on it. That might not be the best thing. And I think he's right. At the same time, I think he was right the first time that by the end of this week, I hope, as a fan who also covers the team, I hope that they just decide, here's what we're going to go with. And unless something really shows up that changes our mind, here's what it's going to be. And I'll tell you, for where I'm at right now, I really don't know what to do at right guard. I'll talk to you about one-on-ones in a second. I don't know that Christian Haynes is stout enough to hold up to strong pass rushers. I don't know if Anthony Bradford is any better as a pass protector than he was last year, even if he's in better shape and playing well as a run blocker. Jalen Sundell is a little undersized for the position. He might be the best bet. Like, he might be. It's too soon to say, but I mean, I saw Jalen Sundell the first day get completely embarrassed by Leonard Williams at guard in a pass rush drill. But a lot of people get embarrassed by Leonard Williams. I just wonder if Jalen Sundell is your highest floor player to put in there. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up with Anthony Bradford, because if you were making the decision based off of who's got the best trait, pass protector, run blocker, like that can actually like impact the game positively, and you ignore their weakness, you just focus on what they do really well. I think Anthony Bradford's run blocking is the strongest strength of the guys playing right guard. I think his pass protection is still a real question mark, but I think he's a plus in the run game, and that might be enough to win him the spot. So I continue to be really curious about how that battle is going to play out. Certainly don't know what people are going to do there, what the coaches are going to do, but I hope it settles in the next few days. Other things, and sorry, I'm sure you guys are chatting with me, but I'm looking at my notes, so I'm not seeing chat as I'm going through here. I thought Damian Martinez had a nice day today. It's funny, somewhat contradictory to what he said. Mike Macdonald said that he didn't think the run game was very good today. He also said he thought Damian Martinez had his best day. So, I mean, I thought that too, but I also thought the run game was all right today. So, I don't know. Anyway, I was Damian Martinez not only in the blitz pickup, but just getting more reps now that Kenny McIntosh, unfortunately, had the ACL injury. I thought, and there's Robbie Utes. He's sore, I'm sure, after a padded practice. So I think Damian Martinez looked good running the ball. I love his ability to cut and start and stop. Everyone talks about how strong of a runner he is and how he can run through tackles, and that's great. But his ability to change direction and really his kind of hesitation, his ability to change speeds, I think makes him a pretty special and interesting runner. So I liked what I saw from Damian Martinez today. I also thought George Halani had a good day today. K9 still is far and away the guy that shows up the most as far as just an explosive player. Run drills. So run drills. This is a drill they're doing with pads on, offensive line, defensive line, front seven. So you got the linebackers in there. You got the butt and the secondary. But you don't have a quarterback. You have like a coach playing quarterback and just handing it off to a back. And the defense did well. Defense did well in these reps. Quinton Bohanna playing at nose tackle, I thought had a nice day. I think he's, based on what I'm seeing so far, first padded practice, I think he's a little bit ahead in the nose tackle competition over a guy like Brandon Peely. Still time to tell. The thing that I've kind of started to wonder about with Brandon Peely is he's a little top heavy. His weight's above the waist. And I've seen there's been times where guys have gotten under him and got some leverage on him and pushed him around or gotten him off of his feet. Quinton Bohanna is very, his center of gravity is lower to the ground, and I think he's a little harder to move. So I think that's an early impression. You know, again, we'll see as time goes on. Mike Macdonald had some nice things to say about Quinton Bohanna afterwards, talked about the fact that you'd think a guy of his size would only be a guy that would play at nose tackle, but they found they can move him around the line a little bit. So I thought he had a nice day. I thought Brady Russell had some nice moments today. That guy plays with such enthusiasm and love for the game. I think he just must be a pleasure to coach. And he lit some guys up on some blocks. He's fast. He got out into some routes. I was so high on him being a surprise player last year, and then he just barely was used, that I'm a little gun shy to push it again. But I think the right offensive coordinator and the right offense can make Brady Russell a pretty valuable player. I'm not saying he's going to be a Pro Bowl guy necessarily, but I do think he can be a productive part of an offense that makes life difficult on defenses. And I'm really curious to see how they end up utilizing him, because he really is a true H-back. They put him in motion a lot, a guy that's very willing to hit. When I talked to Brady last year, he used to play defense. He used to be a linebacker. So he loves hitting. It's one of his favorite parts of the game. And then he's also really fast. So it's a good combination. And I think he put some stress and strain on the defense. D'Anthony Bell yesterday, when I was interviewing him, was just like, yeah, Brady Russell's faster than you think. And I think he surprises a lot of guys. Speaking of, I talked about Brandon Peely getting lifted off the ground a little bit. Gray Zabel during the run drills. I was focusing on Gray Zabel because while I've seen a lot of reps with him in pass protection and pass 1v1 drills, I have not seen him as much in the run game. And so I was really curious to see, was he moving people? And he, on one play, kind of picked up Brandon Peely, who's 340 pounds, by the way, and almost was straining to throw him to the ground and pancake him. Didn't quite get it, but very much won the rep. And it was good to see that kind of strength from him in that drill. Nick Callerup, a guy that I've been really eager to watch in pads. Number 89, 265-pound, undrafted free agent tight end from Minnesota, one of the best graded run blockers in college football last year. He had some nasty blocks today, looked really good. I have a feeling he'll continue to get looks, and I think he'll start stepping forward even more with the pads on. So it was nice to see Nick Callerup have some moments today. When you have there's certain packages where you've got Nick Callerup and maybe Eric Saubert or AJ Barner in at tight end, and then you've also got Robbie Utes in. It's like a 22 personnel, 2 backs, 2 tight ends. That's a lot of beef. And I am eager to see that getting more opportunities and see how those guys, you want to see the offense be able to dictate a little bit. I'm not sure they did that today consistently. Certainly the coach didn't think they did that, but I think they've got some of the guys to be able to do that. So they did. After they did these run drills, they went to kind of the 1 yard line. So the offense was backed up in their own end zone. And first play, blew it open for a run up the middle. Good. It was really good. Then there was a couple false starts, got a little messy. Tried to hit Eric Saubert on a deep play action pass. Was overthrown. They threw a flag on Reek Woolen for defensive pass interference. I didn't see it. So, I saw the play. I didn't see anything that resembled pass interference, and I don't think anyone around me thought they did either, but they called that. But then the next series, Mike Morris burst into the backfield, made a tackle for a safety. So it was good for Mike. I don't know who he beat, but I think Christian Haynes was playing center at that point. Then Jalen Milroe was in, and he did a play action pass and had Damian Martinez open. But for whatever reason, it was a touch pass. And we haven't seen touch passes from Jalen Milroe yet. That's Anthony Richardson. One of the things I really saw at the combine last year was man, yeah, he got a rocket arm, but the guy has no touch. He can't put air under the ball. He can't throw a fade ball, with up in the air. Well, Jalen Milroe, this is the first time we kind of saw this, and he just didn't put enough on it. And it was a pretty relatively easy interception for Nick Emmanwori, the second-round pick, who then, turned around and walked it in from 3 yards away for a touchdown. He ran to the berm, to the fans, and all the defenders came behind him. He was pretty excited. So, a good play for him. I thought Nick Emmanwori was one of the guys today that, with pads on, showed up a little bit more. It's very hard to tell when they're doing the running plays and in the wash who's kind of where they're supposed to be and who's winning those reps. But I saw Nick Emmanwori make some plays in the run game, and I saw him once again on a blitz. I think it was Abe Lucas. Let me double check my notes here. Oh, no, it was Josh Jones. I'm sorry. He blew right by Josh Jones on a blitz later on. And, there's reasons to be excited about Nick Emmanwori. Mike McDonald at the end of practice said he's just earning his reps. He's earning more chances. And he's just an interesting player. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be like Kyle Hamilton to start with, but he is his length, his speed, his size. It's very, very intriguing to see that kind of develop, and the space that he takes up in the pass game or in the run game, I think is something that's going to be fun to watch develop, because he's really, unlike college where he's playing like deep off the ball, he's got a very defined role here. He's got the same thing that he's having to rep every time. And I just wonder how much more that's going to make him ready to make an impact early than, if he was being asked to play a starting safety role like Kobe Bryant or Julian Love is. All right, going through my notes a little bit more. So after the backed up at their 1 yard line, they moved out to like midfield for a kind of a normal offensive series. I think Zach Charbonnet had a nice day today. They tossed outside to him. I thought Abe Lucas and Jalen Sundell had nice blocks on the right side for that. Let's see. I'm looking at a couple things. Oh, Josh Ross had a sack on Drew Lock in the next series. I think Jared Ivey also had what would have been a sack. I could not tell the number, but that's what I put in my notes. Damian Martinez had a big run up the middle. There were some really nice throws from Sam Darnold today. For my money, he was the best quarterback on the field today. And that's against the ones, so like that amplifies it even more. He and Cooper Kupp seem to be developing some chemistry. I think a lot of the passes went his way today. This first one was like he zipped it on a play action to Kupp, probably 15, maybe 20 yards downfield between 3 defenders, right on the money. It was an impressive throw, nice play. There's another play where K9, Kenneth Walker, was in motion, and they did kind of a sprint handoff as he was in motion. So it's kind of an end around, and he is just a blur going around the side and turn the corner. I thought, again, for me there, I thought Abe Lucas did a nice job sealing the edge, but I'm not going to argue with the coach. Maybe tomorrow he'll tell me that after he watched the film, he saw more of what I saw, but maybe not. A little bit later, so another completion to Cooper Kupp. This is where Nick Emmanwori beat Josh Jones for the blitz. This is so Drew Lock came in. Brady Russell put Tyreek Smith on his back on a one block. It was nice to see. Amari Kite, the undrafted free agent left tackle out of UCF, former Alabama. He put Patty O'Connell, the linebacker, on his back. There's a nice play where Drew Lock found George Halani after a beat, crossing over the middle, was able to hit him in stride, and he took it around the corner for a nice gain. Dumped it over the middle to Damian Martinez the next play. And these weren't check downs. These were designed like we're going to clear out space and hit the underneath to gain some yards. And frankly, I feel like that's something the Seahawks just have not done well in previous years. There's these, you see other teams get free yards where they just create space, dump it to a running back or a tight end and get 8, 10, 15 yards with run after the catch. And that's, I think, what these were kind of designed to look like. So let's get to 1v1 drills. Charles Cross went against Leonard Williams a couple times. Nothing really to report there. Then Leonard Williams went against Gray Zabel twice. And the first rep, I thought Leonard Williams got him. The second rep, Gray Zabel got him. And what was one of the things that was interesting later on was I noticed Leonard Williams had pulled Gray Zabel off to the side. The drills were still going on. And he was showing Gray Zabel kind of like, hey, it looked like he was talking about kind of a leverage or a balance move where maybe the defender grabs the offensive lineman and pulls him towards him to get him off balance. And he was kind of walking him through how to combat that. And they talked for, I don't know, a minute, maybe 60 seconds, maybe more than that, maybe a couple minutes. And then dapped each other up and went back to their sides. Because the way this works is the offensive side is separated from the defensive side and they go at this 1v1 drill. So I would say I haven't seen a lot of that in the years I've done this and watched 1v1s. I thought it was cool to see that Leonard Williams was taking the time to coach up Gray Zabel, the rookie. And I think that can only be a good thing for this team that he's got that kind of veteran on his side. Byron Murphy went up against Olu Olutimi. I thought Olu held up okay in both the reps there. Murphy was trying to bully him. Got definitely some push, but I thought Olu was able to hold his ground reasonably well. Jaron Reed put Christian Haynes on skates, just like walked him back on the next rep. The next after that, he tried to swim around Christian Haynes, and it looked like he was going to, but then he kind of lost his balance. So Haynes kind of won that rep, but I would say it was not still a great rep for Christian Haynes. I thought some people were saying that DeMarcus Lawrence lifted Abe Lucas off the ground. That might have happened at some point. That wasn't really what I saw. I saw Abe Lucas hold his ground pretty well against DeMarcus Lawrence, who's a strong dude. In fact, I saw the first rep. I thought Abe like really owned him. The second rep, I saw DeMarcus Lawrence drive him back, but it wasn't an embarrassing, like, oh, he got owned rep. So people might report or see different things. Jalen Gaines had a nice rep against Mike Jarrell. Then Mike Jarrell got him back. Mike Morris, I thought, versus Satawa Lamea. First one I thought was kind of a stalemate. Next one, I think Morris won with a swim move to get around Lamea. Jalen Sundell, I think, pretty much owned Brandon Peely. And one of the things I've noted, Brandon Peely is just not a guy that seems to have a lot of juice as a pass rusher. That's okay. It's not really why he's on the team, but I haven't seen him really win a rep yet. Anthony Bradford was beat by, I want to say, Justin Rogers. Let me check my roster and see if I've got the right number. Let's just do it by, oh no, it was Bubba Thomas. So it's a good rep for him. Boye Mafe beat Josh Jones. Next play, Josh Jones pushes Derek Hall to the ground. So that was a better rep for Josh Jones. Amari Kite had a really nice rep against Jamie Sheriff. Let's see. Maybe you guys don't want all this detail, but I'm just giving it to you, and you can skip ahead if you don't want it. Okay. Bryce Cabledew had a nice couple of reps going against, I think it was J.R. Singleton. And then Mason Richmond at right guard, who's getting more reps at guard now than earlier was at tackle. He beat Anthony Campbell a couple times, the 6'7" big dude defensive tackle out of Miami. Charles Cross absolutely dominated Tyreek Smith, and then he won against Boye Mafe. He continues to be, doing a good job. Gray Zabel, I think, owned J.R. Singleton. Olu got walked back by Jaron Reed, but then Olu won the next rep. Let's see. Byron Murphy was able to bull rush Christian Haynes a little bit. And then the next rep, Haynes was able to push Byron Murphy to the ground. Something we saw a little bit last year where Murphy can get a little bit over his toes a little bit and lose his balance, and offensive linemen can take advantage of that. Abe Lucas did well against Derek Hall a couple of times, and that's, I think, where it ended. So that was 1v1s. Back to team drills. They did kind of a 2-minute drill, and Sam Darnold had a nice pass to Jackson Smith and Jigba for about 15 yards. I don't want to share too much about like what I was seeing, but there's a lot of kind of exotic looks that the defense was giving. And Cody White caught a nice quick out. They got a nice run from Zach Charbonnet, and then, the 2-minute drill, they were out of time, so they kicked a field goal. Drew Lock came in. He hit Tariq Young. Then he hits Jake Bobo, and then he hits Elijah Arroyo over the middle. They kick a field goal. Then Jalen Monroe comes in, hit a nice pass to Montori Foster. I will say that Luke Felix Fualalo, who I've been interested in, was very cleanly beaten on that play. So that wasn't great. Jalen Miller throws the next one away, and I will say it was right to Brady Henderson of ESPN, who reached out over his head, and the ball just went right between his hands. So Brady Henderson, I do not have him making the final 53 or the practice squad. I don't think he belongs out there, but that's okay. He went for it. I respect that. So then they handed off to Damian Martinez, and then they kicked a field goal. So that was that. Okay, last thing I'll just say, on the last series with Sam Darnold in there, there's a nice little bootleg pass to Cooper Kupp, who, like, he and Darnold just definitely connected most that they have today. Robbie Utes had a nice block to Kia run for Charbonnet. Then there was a nice play where they ran what looked to be a boot and then had a screen set up to the side where they had started the play, and threw it to Charbonnet, who had a really nice gain on that. And I thought Jalen Sandell did a nice job on a blitz pickup on one of those plays. I think that's really it. Those are the things that jumped out to me. I see I've got some super chats, so let me take a look at those. Doug Foster's become a member. Welcome, Doug. Great to have you. Detail Oriented has gifted 10 Hawk Blogger memberships. Detail, thank you for your generosity as usual. If you want to get one of these free memberships, all you got to do is make sure you have gifting turned on your YouTube account. Google it. If you don't know how to do that, it'll show you. And then like, subscribe, comment, all those things is how Google decides who gets these free memberships. I don't get to decide. Detail Oriented doesn't get to decide. YouTube decides, and they do it based on how many people are engaging with this channel. So make sure you watch a lot and like a lot and comment a lot, and you have a good chance to get one of these free memberships from Detail Oriented. Rainier Golden says, no question, just praise. Well, that's nice of you. He says, thank you, Brian. You've been a blessing to the 12s, the best Seahawks content ever. Keep up the great work. Well, that is high praise. I don't think I could truly accept that, but I'm really happy that people are enjoying it. I'm happy I can provide it for you guys. Big shout out to my wife, Rachel, for allowing me to spend this much time every day down here, picking up a lot of responsibilities while she does her full-time job as well. So, yeah, tomorrow the team's back in pads. I'll be back here again. And then I think I wouldn't be surprised if they are back in pads again for a third day, and then they'll get a break. And then Saturday will be the kind of mock game at Lumen Field, where they'll be in pads for that. So lots of stuff coming up. Looking forward to it. Overall, it just feels like a team that has not found anything special yet about itself. Like there's not something that is just so clearly dominant that you're like, wow. But what you also feel is a team that's really together and really bought into being here, working together, getting the best out of each other, helping each other. I think the Leonard Williams, Gray Zabel thing is a perfect encapsulation of that. And so I think there's the right foundation for a team that's hopefully going to really get the most out of the talent that they've got on the roster. And we'll see what that adds up to. I still have a lot of questions that won't probably be answered until the regular season. But for now, some good stuff here on the first day of padded practice. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I appreciate it. Looks like we got one more super chat. Dogzilla Monster says, describe seeing Jody Allen. I don't know what to describe. I mean, Jody was here. She spent some time talking with John Schneider on the sidelines. She was watching practice like everybody else. And I think it's great. I think it's great that she's here. I think it's great for the team to know that she's invested and that she was here. But, I don't know that they want me to really be reporting a lot on Jody Allen. So I'll probably keep it mostly to the football side of things, but there was nothing that really stood out one way or another that way, other than the fact that she was here. All right, folks. Thank you again for tuning in. That'll do it for this post-practice report. I'm Brian Nemhauser. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Until then, have a great rest of your day.